Hi, this is Ralph again, and I was just wanting to see if anybody else had an opinion on how all these dictators in these other countries, Venezuela, Cuba, and some of the Middle Eastern countries, have been praising Obama. Um, I don't think, if you just use a little common sense, most folks can see that they're praising Obama because they like him. I mean, and what reason would they have to like an American president? Well, they hated Bush, of course. Bush wasn't an appeaser, and he was a strong leader, and they feared him to some extent on if they went too far, what he would do, how he would react. Um, I don't think that these countries are very intimidated by Obama, and down deep, I think they think in some ways he's on their side. Spends a lot of time going around the world apologizing for our country, and when you got people speaking at the UN and saying, dictators, praising Obama and saying that he should be president forever, and they look at him like a son, or as was said at the UN just recently. You have to wonder why they would do that. I mean, why do they think do they love the fact he's in office and he's weak, and they can walk all over him and our country? Or do they respect him for wanting to sit down and talk with him, when the ones that are wanting to sit down and talk with him are murdering dictators that have oppressed their people? There's no justice, and they've killed and imprisoned their own people. Why would a person like that praise Obama? I mean, the only thing I can see as an average person is that they obviously don't fear him. As soon as he's in office, Korea's over there launching missiles. Iran, a few days after the UN is launching missiles, they're setting off, detonating nuclear bombs in North Korea. It makes you wonder, why we're being looked at as a weak country. You got to have a man who sends the right message for America, that we're a country that has done a lot for the world. World War II, went over there, and my grandfather was there, and fought the Germans and the Italians that allied with the Germans and the Japanese, and did a lot of things for those countries that were being ran over by the Nazis, and by Japan, and Malaysia and everywhere else where they were taken over by the Japanese and so on. Yet all I ever hear about him is apologies for our shortcomings, and none of the praises for the great things this country's done, except I hear a lot of praising coming from third world dictators. They really love Obama. That really makes me worries me that we're looked at that way in the world. And some bad things are coming down the road if this country doesn't stand up for itself and say that they're proud of the country, and we need to get rid of some of these people that are in office. They need to be voted out. Obama didn't win by that much, and a large portion of the people that voted for him, 9 out of 10, would have voted for him regardless of his policy, or how they saw him as an honest man, or what. They didn't care. They just wanted him in office. And I can understand at some point some of the minorities wanted somebody in there they felt would represent them, and they'd be proud to have that in there. But that segment of the population is, if they hadn't been there and so lopsidedly supported him, he wouldn't be in office. So I don't think that's a true representation of the people of the country when you got somebody who's voted in office that would have been put in there regardless of their viewpoints or what they had planned for the country. And you see it in the polls. You know, all these polls. You could have a poll, the worst kind of poll question, and he'd still get 25-30%, because the same people that minorities mainly and white people also that put him in office don't care really where he stands on policy. They just want him as he represents something they want to see in this country. They wanted somebody of color to be in office, and like I said, I can understand that, but people need to look past that. They need to look at the man. There's lots of other qualified people of color that could have better done a job than Obama. And I feel the polls, if you look at the polls, you're always going to have that part represented regardless. I think this country is headed for a lot of trouble, and hopefully he'll move to the middle more. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's truly radical to the core, and he wants to fundamentally change his country to something he envisions. More along the socialist lines, where everybody has the same thing regardless of their efforts. And that's not the country I grew up as a child in, and my parents and my grandfather wasn't over in Germany and North Africa fighting for this. And if he saw it now, he's probably turning in his grave if he knew what was going on in this country. And it really worries me, and it's I can't believe that the public's just letting this happen. More tea parties, we need to keep it going. And I think if we keep the pressure on, he's going to have to move center right, or they're going to be out of office in midterm elections. And the Republicans need to get their act together and start doing what they were put in office in the first place to do by their constituents, and that is to go in there and be officially conservative, not go waste all of our money like it's being done right now, hand over fist, worse than it's ever been done before. That's their excuse. They did it like children. Just because they did it, we're going to do it threefold. That is so childish. This is our government acting like a bunch of children. Moronic children, with no sense. It's amazing. You can take an average guy from a factory and put him in Congress or Senate right now, and they could do 10 times the job with a little bit of common sense. It's just ridiculous, and that's all I really wanted to say.